Foam rolling for the pelvic floors. Let's get into it. So all you need is a foam roller today. We're focusing on our abdominal region, our legs at the front, the back, and our glutes with some abdominal work as well. So we're starting with our tailbone. So I'm just sitting on the foam roller, as you can see, hands behind your foam roller and your back. Your feet are in front in a comfortable position, and just roll around. Feel your tailbone go all the way to your sit bones and all the way up to your low back. Is there any tension that you're experiencing, or does it feel fairly comfortable? So I just like to take a moment to roll and get a feel for what's going on. And you can see I'm doing a bit of wrist mobility in the process, just kind of playing around. Now moving a little bit on my right hip here. So I just switched the positioning so I can feel the upper part of my buttocks or my glute, and I just roll all the way from my pelvic bone to my sit bone. I really want to feel where are there any kinks or stagnation, as I call it, since that is an area that really requires that oxygenation, that circulation and blood flow. I then progress over to my hip bones, and I go over my hip bone, above my hip bone, and I just if I find a spot, I hang out there for a little bit and then make bigger movements. Now, when you feel some discomfort, please don't feel like you are hurting the tissue. If anything, you're actually bringing some more blood flow in there. I just switched my positions over here, as you can see. So it's a matter of playing around with the foam roller and finding the position that works for you to get some of those stagnant spots in the glutes. Now, why we want to do this is to help to promote the circulation in the pelvic region. You have your pelvic floors located at the bottom of your pelvis, and you have all this musculature all around. We use our legs, our pelvis, our core all day long, and so we want to release it and draw more blood flow into the area. Switching over to the quad and then going from the side to the front. And so from here, I'm going to switching over to the other side before I do the front of the legs. And so I'm sitting on an angle, more like a 45 degrees. So going from my hip over to my pelvis, so the top bony part. And then I am progressing up in towards my glute area. Make sure you're breathing in and out. So don't hold your breath. You're actually creating more tension in the process. So you want to find those spots, as I've said, breathe through it. If it feels too uncomfortable, step out or move to another spot. Play around, as I've said, nice and comfy. And so we continue with some of our breathing. And if you find some of those uncomfortable spots, I just move away from them for a bit and then I come back to them. Second time around always feels a little bit better. So my left side is always a little bit tighter. So you will find what side is tighter for you. Going into some of our IT band region, front of the thigh, and I just kind of play around with the angling. So I find any tension in that area, I spend a little bit more time there. Okay, going into the abdominal region. So we start out by laying below our pubic bone region. So I'm starting with a little bit of my quad release. And so I'm progressing towards my pubic bone, my lower belly, and where my belly button is. That spot is fairly uncomfortable. So I will spend time breathing in here. I just rest and take nice deep breaths in. You may feel your pulse in your umbilical artery in that area. And so this is okay. You are restricting the blood flow just a little bit. And then once you come out from that position, you'll have a rush of blood going into the pelvic region. We want to promote that circulation, that oxygenation of our reproductive system, of our organs, our digestive tract, as well as our upper organs as well, like our stomach and our liver. So I'm putting the foam roller on a 45-degree angle so I can get with the angulation of my pelvic bone. I'm not going on the bone because that can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you will feel it right on the midline of your belly and on the side. So I hung out there for a little bit. For me, it was fairly uncomfortable. And then I just go back to my center where it feels a little bit more kind of more where it is comfortable for me. I continue with my breathing in and out, doing a little bit of an extension to stretch out the front of my rib cage and my diaphragm in the process, and back towards my quads I go, and progressing into my middle of the quad, as well as closer to the knee area. If you cycle a fair bit, you do lots of walking, lots of running, you don't want to skip out on your quads. They get fairly stagnant fairly quickly, same as our inner thighs. So moving into our inner thighs, you want to be on your stomach / your side, starting from the knee area, progressing to our groin. It does feel a bit uncomfortable, so you want to take it nice and easy. Don't grimace. Nice deep breaths, and you'll find you'll have one side that's a bit tighter than the other. That's totally normal. Find what it is, what you feel. And so it will take some time. Be patient with yourself. It does take a few weeks for you to start feeling like there's a bit of a release around that area, but you can imagine your inner thighs are touching very closely to the pelvic floors, and not just yanking on that area and restricting the blood flow. So we want to promote good circulation, as I've mentioned before. And so you can see this is a little bit of a better angle. I'm going all the way close to my groin area where I start feeling some of those bony regions. That's where I find the most discomfort and a lot of tension, as well as closer to the knee area as well. So take your time with it. Nice breaths in and out. Go into the discomfort. We become comfortable with the uncomfortable with breathing, okay? And so foam rolling is a fantastic way to promote that blood flow in the tissues, as well as this is quite helpful to get into some of our restricted movements when we do mobility as well. Switching gears here towards my hamstring. So I want to really focus on the muscle belly, going towards the knee joint. That's where the muscle actually tapers down, so it will feel a little bit more restricted, and also towards the sit bone, because that's where the hamstring attaches and your pelvic floors. And then we switch sides, so back to the glutes and the hamstrings. So just rolling around and really just have a little bit of fun with it. And so this is how we really incorporate the front, the back, the glutes, the abdominal region, and then from here we will go into our rib cage and middle back, since it's quite important to open up the upper part of our core region. Remember, your diaphragm is part of your core. It keeps, it engages the abdominal wall and your pelvic floor, so we want to keep that area very mobile. So all I'm doing is breath in, breath out as I go up and down. I move fairly quickly for this, since my spine is not feeling very sticky today, but if you do find it sticky, play around with the angle. Don't go as deep, support your head and go with your breaths. Your breathing is your best friend. It's going to help you to go through these uncomfortable movements and become comfortable with them over time, okay? Then we're moving into a bit of a lat stretch and going into a child's pose with the foam roller. So again, I like to feel where's my tension and use my breathing to get into some of those positions. And then as I'm getting stuck in a foam roller, watch out for your long hair, my friends. And I just like to finish off with a little bit of that mobility. And so here you go. We have some foam rolling for our abdominal region. Nice. You'll feel you can breathe a little easier afterwards, and your legs will feel kind of nice and loosened up. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Whoop!